Good evening and welcome to Simon Skjodt Assembly Hall on the campus of Indiana University in Bloomington. Appreciate you for tuning in here and spending your Friday evening with us. We've got a special presentation on the road. RedHawk Radio presents Miami men's basketball, and tonight it's the RedHawks taking on the Indiana Hoosiers in their first matchup back in Bloomington in 30 years. This is a long time coming for the RedHawks, but this wasn't the last matchup. The RedHawks last faced off back 2 years ago on November 20th, 2022 in the Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. It was an 86-56 loss, and that was a game where the Indiana Hoosiers ended up winning their sixth game in a row against these RedHawks. So this will be a matchup where Miami looking to break a streak and trying to steal one on the road in a very hostile environment. Once again, we appreciate you for tuning in. My name is Andrew Relvas. Happy to have you with us here from Simon Skjodt Assembly Hall. Continuing on with the matchups, the Hoosiers are 9-1 in their last 10 versus the RedHawks. Miami trying to break some streaks here. This is very hostile environment, one of the toughest places to play in college basketball. Miami's last win actually happened here in Bloomington in 1983, so about 31 years ago, and it has been a long time for the RedHawks trying to break this little streak here. Moving on towards the KenPom comparisons, the RedHawks are coming in ranked number 166 in the country. They're fourth out of 12 MAC teams in the national conversation, negative .76 net. They have an offensive rating of 189 and a defensive rating 169 in the country. Meanwhile, for the Indiana Hoosiers, they are number 47 team in the country. 12 out of 18 Big Ten teams. A lot of Big Ten teams have really been pouring it on lately. So they come in at that rank currently, a 15.63 net, an offensive rating 44th best in the nation, and a defensive rating 60th in the best. So this is going to be a big test for these RedHawks on the road. And this will be Miami's second Big Ten team that they will be facing this season. Faced off against the Michigan Wolverines a couple of weeks ago. That was out in Ann Arbor. Tough loss for them, 94-67, 27-point loss on the road. But tonight they will hope to forget about that one and turn on their best performance potentially on the young season so far. Miami comes into tonight with a record of 5-2. Currently on a 3-game winning streak. They've been hot lately, and all 3 of those wins coming most recently versus Air Force at home in Millett Hall. It was a 73-60 win against the Air Force Falcons, defeating Mountain West team. Previous 2 wins came against Siena and Mercer in the Fort Myers Classic in the Palms Division, where Miami eventually won that about a week ago. So 3-game winning streak for the RedHawks, trying to extend that tonight in Bloomington, Indiana. Last year, the RedHawks a record of 15-17, 9-9 in the MAC. They made the MAC tournament, but they fell to Akron in round 1, 63-75. And once again, we've talked about it all season long. This is a team that's looking to continue rising in the MAC. They're trying to make their presence known, trying to give all MAC fans an understanding of what this RedHawks machine has been over in the years past. It's kind of been a sleeping giant. The RedHawks, obviously, they have the history. They've won the MAC championships, and now they're trying to get back into that conversation. Could potentially this year be the year that they could do it, trying to make a NCAA tournament appearance for the first time since 2006, 18 years ago. So it has been a long time coming for Miami, and potentially be making some real noise if they steal one tonight against the Indiana Hoosiers. Of course, Miami was picked to finish 6th of 12 in the MAC preseason poll, and so far they're looking already much better than last year, no question about it. They have continued rising to the occasion so far in this season. Most recent game for Miami, talked about it a little bit. The RedHawks defeated the Air Force Falcons in a non-conference game on Monday, 4 days ago. So a couple days rest for these RedHawks as they will help to be completely rejuvenated, come out with a strong fighter's punch in Simon Skjodt Assembly Hall. That game, only one player in double figures, but if you're a Miami fan, you know who that was. It was Peter Suter, 42 points for him, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and 3 steals along with a block. I mean, it was the Suter show on full display for the RedHawks in that Monday evening affair against the Air Force Falcons. Ian Elmer as well, 9 points for him, and Luke Skjodt also had 7 points. So this is a game that's gonna have to be a full team effort if they want to come away with a victory here. They're definitely gonna need multiple double-figure scorers. Last time they had that kind of performance was in the Fort Myers Classic against Mercer. All 5 starters were in double figures. It was a 75-72 win against the Mercer Bears. So it's gonna have to be one of those type of showings from these RedHawks here on the road. We shall see if they can do that tonight. Turning it over to the Indiana Hoosiers. This is a team that was picked to finish 2nd in the Big Ten, according to the preseason poll. Okay, come into tonight with a record of 6-2 on a 2-game winning streak. Last year was a little bit disappointing for them. They failed to make the NCAA tournament. They had a winning season nonetheless, 19-14, 10-10, which was 6th in the Big Ten. And that was just kind of a rough season for the Indiana Hoosiers, falling to Nebraska, to Kaisei Tomanenga's Nebraska Cornhuskers in round 2, 93-67. This is a team like the RedHawks trying to get back into the NCAA tournament and prove the doubters wrong. They've made the NCAA tournament 2 times in the last 3 years, 11 times in the last 24 years. So this is a team that's consistently in the tournament, and they are trying to continue being that blue blood that we all know that they have been historically. Of course, the Hoosiers are 5-time national champions. They last won the national championship in 1987 under Bob Knight. So this is, once again, one of the most historical programs in college athletics. Just continued and a proven winner. One of the true blue bloods in the men's basketball ranks. They were coached by Mike Woodson in his 4th year. Under him, they've made the NCAA tournament twice, trying to make it 3 years this year. Their most recent affair, it was against the Sam Houston Bearcats, and on that date, it was a 97-71 win about 3 days ago on Tuesday, nearly touching 100 points. Very impressive stuff from the Indiana Hoosiers, playing back at home once again for their 5th game. In that game for the Hoosiers, 4 players were in double figures. 62% shooting on the floor, 47% from 3, and 76% from the free throw line. That game, the Hoosiers made 7 3-pointers, nearly 50%. They shot a good 22 for 29 from the free throw line. That's going to win you a lot of games. They're trying to keep it like that tonight. The top scorers were Miles Rice with 19 points, Blake Renau with 18 and 10. Had himself a double-double. Good had 18 points. It was a good night for him. And Mackenzie Mbako with 13 points. So 4 players in double figures, all of them who I mentioned recently. They were looking to be strong contributors tonight against the hungry Miami RedHawks team. In that game, this Indiana defense held Sam Houston to 43% shooting, 35% from the three-point line, and 13 for 20 from the free throw stripe. Of course, they out-rebounded Sam Houston 37 to 25 in that contest. For the Indiana Hoosiers, this was a team that lost a little bit of talent. They lost certainly their top contributor in Kalel Ware, who was their top point scorer last year, the center drafted by the Heat. Also lost Xavier Johnson, guard who graduated. Anthony Walker, the forward, also graduated. CJ Gunn, the guard currently at DePaul, transfer out there. Caleb Banks, another transfer out for the Tulane Green Wave. And then another player, Peyton Sparks, the center, who's currently in the MAC playing for the Ball State Cardinals. So this is a team that lost 6 players, but they retained 8 players, most notably Malik Renau, Mackenzie Mbako, Trey Galloway, Gabe Cups, and company. Just a really solid returning class for Mike Woodson. And not only did he retain a lot of talent, but he brought in a ton more, most notably 5 transfers, being Umar Ballo, the Arizona Wildcats transfer, previously spent time at Gonzaga, spent most of his collegiate career at Arizona, and he's coming in averaging in double figures. Really good pickup for them. Another player that was a really good add on the transfer portal, Miles Rice, the Washington State Cougars transfer, double figure scorer, just a really dynamic guard. And obviously some March Madness experience with the Washington Cougars in the previous Pac-12 conference out on the West Coast. And one more player that was a really strong add, Luke Good, the Illinois Fighting Illini transfer, who put up 18 points last game. Looking to be a very strong contributor this season for the Indiana Hoosiers. Those are the players the Hoosiers brought in, lost, and retained. Now we will turn it over to our national scoreboard for the top 25 and the MAC scoreboard segment. Take a look at some of the matchups going on quickly. So in the top 25, there's only one matchup. It's a Big Ten clash between the Illinois Fighting Illini and the Northwestern Wildcats. That'll be in Evanston at Welsh Ryan Arena. Should be a fun matchup in the Big Ten. It's a 9 o'clock start. Number 19 ranked Illinois Fighting Illini taking on the Northwestern Wildcats team that is always dangerous in the Big Ten. We'll turn it over to the MAC scoreboard. Only one other matchup on the men's side. It's the Portland Pilots on the road taking on the Kent State Golden Flashes. For Kent State coming in with a record of 6-2, and they are trying to improve to 7-2. Facing off against the Portland Pilots out west. Should be a fun matchup at the MAC Center in Kent, Ohio. Should be an exciting one. Not a ton of top 25 action tonight, but plenty more tomorrow. And we shall see how that gets going once we get there. Starters have been announced for both sides. For Travis Steele's squad in his 3rd year with the RedHawks, previous coach at Xavier, he is bringing in the big guns. Ian Elmer starting, Cam Kraft, Peter Suter, Makai Cooper, and Antoine Woolfolk. Kind of been the typical starting 5 for these Miami RedHawks. Big name, of course, Peter Suter, scoring 42 points, trying to keep getting the scoring engines going, and I'm sure that's what the Indiana Hoosiers want to eliminate. If there's one player that the Hoosiers can take away, it's got to be Suter. Definitely going to be their big game plan tonight. For the Indiana Hoosiers, the starting 5 for Mike Woodson, it's Miles Rice, Malik Renau, Omar Below, Mackenzie Mbako, and Trey Galloway. Kind of a typical starting 5 for these Indiana Hoosiers. And it'll certainly be a handful for this RedHawks team that is gonna have to be all hands on deck if they want to win this one. Talked about it a little bit, but this is a team that you can't mess around. You have to always have your foot on the gas pedal against these Indiana Hoosiers. If you let up for one moment, that could be it for the entire game. So this is a game that the RedHawks, they got to feed off of momentum. They got to continue to feel the surge here on the road and try and take one against these Indiana Hoosiers. Take it on to the keys to the game. About 11 minutes left until tip-off here at Simon Skjodt Assembly Hall. Appreciate you for tuning in here in a historic cathedral in collegiate sports. Just a really incredible venue here. Just walking in, you could certainly feel the history and just the legendary status walking through this venue. RedHawks once again, this is their first time back in Bloomington in 30 years. They are trying to grab their first win against these Indiana Hoosiers in quite some time. Turn it over to the keys to the game right now. So for Miami, how can they defeat the Indiana Hoosiers? Well, this is a game where they've got to come out firing. I mean, it's got to be a fast start, and it's got to be a really intense start. We did see that happen up in Michigan against the Michigan Wolverines in Ann Arbor. That was a game where the RedHawks let it fly from deep. We saw Cam Kraft, Peter Suter, and company just continue firing from start to finish. And that was a game where at half, the RedHawks were only trailing by about a 7 or so. If they can kind of get that sort of range under 10 points, that would certainly be a victory for sure. And obviously in that second half, if that did happen, the RedHawks got to bring it against these Indiana Hoosiers to potentially bring out a knockout punch. So number one, they got to start out fast. They got to bring the energy here, a big hostile environment. Number two, see if you can feed the offense through Peter Suter. Peter Suter, 20 points in 2 games ago against the Mercer Bears, 42 points against the Air Force Falcons. If you can get Peter Suter the rock, if you can keep feeding him the basketball, you can really cause some problems here in Simon Skjodt Assembly Hall. And hopefully, if Suter is going offensively, you can kind of hand it off to some different players for the RedHawks. Obviously, Cam Kraft in his last game shot 0 for 7 from the floor. You're not going to have that happen very often. Cam Kraft, a dynamic scorer coming from Xavier. If you can get him going offensively, kind of feed him on the corner or in transition, you can find his right shooting groove. RedHawks can certainly get the offense in a really good spot. And number 3, if the RedHawks can find some underclassmen, Ian Elmer, Makai Cooper, they've got some talented underclassmen. If you can get them going offensively, it'll be an exciting sight to see for sure. On the defensive end, the RedHawks, they're going to have their hands full. This is an Indiana Hoosiers offense that is dynamic. 4 players in double figures. Miles Rice averaging 11. Umar Ballo averaging 13. Malik Renault 15. And Mackenzie Mbako up at 17. So you got to take at least 1 or 2 of those players out to really minimize this offensive outburst that we're potentially expected to see here at Assembly Hall. For Indiana, it's really the 2 forwards, Renault and Mbako, that lead the shelf, 17 points and 15. If you can force Antoine Woolfolk on Mbako or Renault and kind of play tight up in his grill and really just kind of try and force some turnovers, I feel like that would for sure be a victory in head coach Travis Steele's eye. Umar Ballo, another guy that the RedHawks got to look out for. Very talented and experienced center coming from Arizona. You can kind of leave him shooting. He's more paint focused, but if you can kind of force him outside to shoot some threes, that could for sure be another victory. And Miles Rice averaging about 11 points. Just gotta play some tight defense, and we shall see how the RedHawks come out firing here at Assembly Hall. So the keys to the game for the RedHawks, they gotta get the offense going, especially in the hands of Peter Suter. Gotta come out firing here on the road. Tough play, one of the toughest places to play in the entire nation. Just not many teams win here. And if you're gonna win, you have to make it known to these Indiana Hoosiers. Have to show that you want it more. And the RedHawks, I'm sure, have that energy tonight. Should be a fun matchup. And we will see how the RedHawks can respond, try and get their first win in 41 years against the Indiana Hoosiers. This is gonna be a good one here on RedHawk Radio. We'll turn it over to Luke and Bryan for the rest of this one in about 5 minutes, coming up from Simon Skjodt Assembly Hall. Stay with us. You're listening to Miami men's basketball on RedHawk Radio.
Which one do you want me on? What's that? Which one do you want me on? You're on 9.
It's a trip out west for the Miami RedHawks as they crossed the border and headed into neighboring Indiana. Made their way 2.5 hours to Bloomington, to one of college basketball's greatest venues. Assembly Hall is our site tonight as Miami takes on the Indiana Hoosiers for the first time in a couple of years. RedHawks are back here inside Assembly Hall for the first time in many RedHawks lifetimes. Back in the 80s, last time Miami was here. Alongside Bryan Miller, Poley with you. Bryan, can't talk about Miami without talking about what Peter Suter did last time out. The Bellarmine transfer was the first RedHawk to score more than 40 points in a game since way back in the 1990s for the RedHawks. 42 for Pete Suter against Air Force. It was just incredible to watch.
Yeah, it sure was. Luke, anytime you're in the conversation with Wally Szczerbiak and you play basketball at Miami University, that's pretty good company to be in. The last time anyone scored 40-plus points was Szczerbiak in that 1999 March Madness game against Washington. In the first round, RedHawks ended up making it to the Sweet 16 that year. Just a great performance there from Suter, 42 points. And not only that, very efficient from the field. 17 of 21 from the field. Oftentimes we see 40-plus point performances and you think, oh, well, how efficient was he? Did he just throw up a bunch of shots? Suter, no, he made almost everything. We mentioned at the end of the last game, Luke, if he made all of his free throws where he was 100% before that game, he would have had the all-time record. So just a legendary performance there from Suter on Monday night.
Junior from Carmel, 42 points off 17 for 21 shooting. Good news was, Bryan, that the RedHawks had Suter in action for them on Monday. The bad news wasn't a ton of production outside of him. Ian Elmer had a decent night, as did Makai Cooper, but the big thing that stuck out for the RedHawks, no points from, at the time, your leading scorer, Cam Kraft.
Yeah, you typically don't see that. Very lucky for the RedHawks that Suter had a game that he did. It was much needed. You don't often see Cam Kraft with 0 points coming into today's game, averaging 14.1 points on just under 29 minutes. Travis Steele and the rest of the RedHawks are going to need Cam Kraft and everyone else throughout this RedHawk team to step up tonight.
For Indiana, under Mike Woodson in his 4th season at the helm of the Hoosiers, they've won their last 2 games, but by the high standard of this fan base, it's been a somewhat disappointing start to the year. Hoosiers are 6-2. However, both of those losses coming during Feast Week as they headed down to Atlantis and lost their first 2 games before winning their finale against Providence at that MTE. Indiana looking to keep the winning ways going of late and take care of business in another bye game after dispatching of Sam Houston earlier this week. Hoosiers looking to win their 3rd in a row before Big Ten play starts coming up here at Assembly Hall on Monday against the Golden Gophers of Minnesota. Indiana in the traditional home white uniforms here this evening with the red numbers on the back and the red IU on the side of the shorts, with Indiana along the front. For Miami, they wear the red uniforms with white numbers on the front and back. White block text along the top and bottom of the numbers, and the white names atop the numbers on the back of the uniform. For the RedHawks, it's Cam Kraft, Peter Suter, Makai Cooper, Ian Elmer, and Antoine Woolfolk for Travis Steele. That's the lineup we have gotten pretty used to seeing for this RedHawk team during the non-conference slate. For Mike Woodson at Indiana, Miles Rice, Trey Galloway, Malik Renew, Mackenzie Mbako, and Umar Ballo, the starting 5 for the Hoosiers tonight.
Indiana going with a couple big men. Typically don't see that, but with Mbako and Ballo playing the way that they have this season and throughout their careers, understandable for Mike Woodson. Typically don't see 2 big men running the offense, especially in this era of college basketball.
4 players on this Indiana roster 6'9" or taller, including a couple 7-footers. Ballo being one of them. Just waiting on the TV cameras to make their way off the court for this nationally televised game on BTN. Second time RedHawks have been on the Big Ten Network this year. First did not go so well. A blowout loss on the road to Michigan. Miami hoping this one goes a little better here in this cathedral of college basketball. RedHawks win the tip. We are underway here from Assembly Hall. So glad you're with us. Alongside Bryan Miller, Poley with you. Andrew Relvas alongside as well. here tonight. RedHawks take it left to right and begin on the offensive end. It's Cam Kraft coming off a screen from up top. Again, no points for the Xavier transfer who has it, takes his first shot, but he stepped out of bounds as he splashed a three. His foot hit the sideline, and the RedHawks will give it away 18 seconds into the game.
Yeah, first look going to Kraft there, understandable. Unique thing about this court, Luke, is the out-of-bounds line is just one thin red line, the same color as the rest of the court, so hard to tell where the out-of-bounds is here.
So from up top, it's Umar Ballo, the Arizona transfer, handing it off for a near-wing shot, knocked down by Miles Rice from just inside the arc.
Rice, one of the key transfers for the Hoosiers this season, the Pac-12 Freshman of the Year last year at Washington State.
Freshman All-American, had 19 in the win over Sam Houston earlier this week. 2-0 Indiana, 49 seconds into half one. Right angle extended. Cam Kraft comes off a screen set by Woolfolk. Doubled, he slips it free for Peter Suter. Suter works to the nail, pulls back with a fadeaway jumper. It's off the back iron, and the rebound hauled out by Ballo. Quickly up ahead, Galloway comes out with it, making his third straight start for the Hoosiers. Feeding it down low, and a foul underneath on the RedHawks as Renew was trying to pull free. Honorable mention all Big Ten last season for Renew. And they will say that was not a shooting foul. He was just trying to rip through to get some space. So baseline inbound floated up top for Indiana. And right now it's Galloway just inside the arc straight away. Quickly bounce to the near block. Ballo holding overhead. Former Rutgers Scarlet Knight right on him, and Antoine Woolfolk passing it to the far side. Renew had it plucked free, got the loose ball, and cleaned it up off the rim and in for two to make it 4-0 Indiana, 90 seconds into the game.
And the RedHawks are going to need Woolfolk to really step up today, not only guard Ballo, but give somewhat of a big-time presence for this team.
Free throw line jumper from Ian Elmer falls off the front rim short. And Ballo comes out with the rebound. Hefty presence inside. 7 rebounds for him against Sam Houston. And in a crowded space, Renew spins and skies one that drops through for 2.
Indiana just dominating the post so far. It's a very old school approach from Indiana, but it's been very effective so far.
Renew coming off his 2 most efficient games of the season. Suter, meanwhile, works to the right elbow, and the fadeaway jumper from there off target. And the rebound pulled out by the Hoosiers. Those were the shots that were falling for Suter on Monday. Haven't so far tonight. 17:43 to go first half. Miami still scoreless. Beautiful spin to the bucket for Rice. And a wide open layup for the Washington State transfer after that quick move.
Yeah, that was a very nice move there from Rice, getting on the defender, getting into the open space and getting himself an easy bucket.
8-0 Hoosiers, 17:25 to go first half. No look feed finds Makai Cooper on the far side. Back near wing Kraft, his 3. Missed left, and the rebound pulled out by Ballo.
Man, the RedHawks need something now.
Tripping and falling, though. Ballo lost the basketball. RedHawks with numbers. Driving kick by Elmer finds it open. Cooper, corner 3. Off the back rim, fight for the rebound. Ballo's got the size advantage, and he comes out with it. Back up ahead for the Hoosiers, a long 3 for the far side. Early in the shot clock by Renault off the front iron. And the rebound pulled out by the RedHawks.
And this is a much quicker team in Indiana than Air Force that Miami is facing.
3-pointer hit, and the RedHawks are finally on the board. With 16:42 to play in the first half, we'll get a foul on the inside. It was Elmer that connected on the 3-point shot for Miami, and with 16:42 to go, it's a 5-point lead in this first half. Hoosiers over RedHawks.
Yeah, just going back to what I was talking about earlier, Luke. Much quicker pace for Indiana. They're 49th in tempo on Ken Pom compared to Air Force. Really, really slow.
Skipped in for Renault off the baseline inbound, wide open underneath the basket to lay it in for 2. 10-3 Hoosiers, 16:33 to go in the first half.
And that just looked like a play where the RedHawks just forgot about the defenders, left the paint wide open.
Reese Potter, the 7-foot sophomore, onto the floor for the RedHawks. He hands off for Ian Elmer. Back up top, Potter straight away, dribbling next to the left waist. And a short pass in for Makai Cooper. Back for Potter, he was wide open, but he fumbled the pass, quickly closed off, and his short hook. The bunny is short of the basket. Might have grazed the front rim there. Rebound pulled out by Indiana, and Mbako up ahead for the Hoosiers. Co-freshman of the year last season in the Big Ten for IU. Feeds it back up top. It's Miles Rice. Crossover dribble defended by Makai Cooper. Back to the far wing. Trey Galloway rises for 3 and buries it. Trey Galloway had just 3 points in the start against Sam Houston and hits the triple there to make it 13-3 Indiana and matches total scoring output from his last time out. Cooper on the drive, double team, swatted away at the basket by Ballo, out of bounds, and it will be Miami basketball, but RedHawks a little shell-shocked here on the road to start things off. 15:30 to go, opening half from Assembly Hall. Our score, Indiana 13 and Miami 3. We're back after this. You're listening to Miami basketball on RedHawk Radio. Well, the RedHawks have dug themselves a quick hole with 15:30 to go in the first half. It's Indiana 13 and Miami 3 from Assembly Hall. Alongside Bryan Miller, Luke West Poley with you. It'll be RedHawk ball coming out of the media timeout. But Bryan, Miami's 1 for 8 from the field. They look very out of sorts to begin the game.
Yeah, they do, and they're not like horrible looks either. Getting a few open shots for Cam Kraft and Peter Suter. You mentioned it early in the game, Luke. The type of shots that Suter was making against Air Force, he's not making tonight.
Inbound finds Evan Ipsara, the sophomore, on the floor. Finds his fellow sophomore Ian Elmer with a 3 from the far side. That hits the front rim, and off it goes to Indiana for the rebound. 13-3 Hoosiers, and Galloway across the logo on the right side. Flips up top for Renew. To the far wing it goes for Mbako. Dribbles away from some prodding defense by Evan Ipsara. And now dribble handoff for Trey Galloway. Wants a screen up top, gets it, spins to the far side. Galloway down the right lane, gallops to the basket, lays it up, and it rolled off. It was tapped back in by Ballo, but it'll be waved off as that ball was still on the rim when Ballo sent it back into the bucket.
Yeah, RedHawks very lucky there. It was called a goaltend. They're going to really need Reese Potter to step up here guarding against Ballo.
Ipsara running the point for Miami, a rare occurrence as he takes it down the timeline on the left wing. Finding the freshman Luke Skjodt, backhanding off for Ipsara on the right angle extended. Ipsara accelerates, pulls up from the left elbow. Instead he'll feed, no look to the far side. Another corner 3 from Elmer, and he missed it. Rebound tapped around, scooped up by Mbako. Long feet ahead, Ballo got hooked underneath the basket. That'll be a foul on Miami's Reese Potter.
Yeah, certainly a mismatch down low in favor of the Hoosiers. Ballo much bigger, just much thicker than Potter as well. Seems like something that Mike Woodson and the rest of the Hoosier team will look to exploit.
Hoosiers will make some subs here. Luke Goody was going to come onto the floor, but instead he's waved back over to the scorer's table. And they will first have Ballo take his first free throw.
And Ballo definitely struggles from the line, 22 and for 40 this season.
55%, excuse me, on the year. Averages 12 and 8, but long on the first and no good. 17 assists, 17 blocks for the Arizona transfer. Season high 25 points for him against his former team Gonzaga, who he actually started his career with way back a few years ago. Second one in the air and through for Ballo to make it 14-3 Indiana. Now the Hoosiers will make their subs as they will bring on Luke Goody. Pressure being picked up full court by Indiana, and as the RedHawks get it in, it now backs off and will be taken across the timeline straight away by Peter Suter. Suter finds Potter up top, handing back for Suter. Racing around the near side. Suter bullies inside, hangs, and scores, plus the foul.
Great take there from Peter Suter. He did a great job of that Monday night against Air Force. Needed a bucket there to get Miami back into this game, and he did just that.
RedHawks will bring on Brant Byers and Antoine Woolfolk, who returns to the floor. They'll take Reese Potter and Ian Elmer's spot as Pete Suter takes his foul shots. Again, a rare, tough night for Suter at the free throw line, despite all the other things that were going well for him on Monday, but he's perfect on the one free throw. And with 14-12 to go, opening half, it's Indiana by 8, 14-6. Miles Rice to the far wing, it's Mbako dribbling with the left hand, needling straight through the center of the paint, stumbled and left the ball on the baseline. It touches out of bounds and will be RedHawk basketball.
Very good team defense there from the Miami RedHawks, driving against the drive there from Mbako.
Skjodt comes off a screen to the far side, crossing the timeline, steps into a three, and hits it.
Wow.
Oh, Luke Skjodt, he's been so efficient, 77% from the field, 86% from three this year. That's just what Miami needed to get within 5.
Oh my goodness. I mean, I think a lot of RedHawk fans have been asking for more minutes for Skjodt. He's certainly making a good case for it tonight.
Travis Seal said, I don't just like Luke Skjodt, I love Luke Skjodt, as Rice drives in and draws the foul. Flipped it up onto the rim, but did not get the shot to fall. He'll have 2 shots at the line.
And one more thing about Skjodt, just so confident on that shot as well. You would think a freshman playing in this type of environment might be a little nervous to shoot the ball, but just very smooth transition, just buried it.
Freshman out of Brecksville, Ohio. First free throw is made by Rice. He was a finalist for Mr. Basketball last season in the Buckeye State. First team All-Ohio selection in Division I. Scored in every game except the Siena game for the RedHawks down in Fort Myers. 13-27 our score. 13-27 left on the clock. 15-9 our score. Now make it 16-9 with the make of the second free throw by a 94% free throw shooter, Miles Rice. It's back to a 7-point game. Skjodt carrying it ahead for the RedHawks and will load it across the timeline over the outline of the Hoosier State through the circle. Up top, it's Pete Suter to the near side for Cam Kraft. Finds another former high major player in Antoine Woolfolk, used to play in the Big Ten, transfer from Rutgers. Pushing back outside, Peter Suter, the Bellarmine transfer, slashes in, fakes the step back, finds Kraft, open for 3. It rattles off, rebound fought for and deflected out of bounds off of Indiana. Rice caught that in a funky spot and had to kind of throw that, it appeared, almost behind the back and hit off the leg of either he or Malik Renew, who was in the area, and went out of bounds. So a bad break there for the Hoosiers as the RedHawks will get another chance on this possession. 20 on the shot clock, 12:55 to go first half. Indiana by 7. Kraft off a screen, catches a high ball in front of the Indiana bench on the far side, makes his way just inside the arc top of the key, fumbled with his dribble, but still able to hand off for Brant Byers. Now Antoine Woolfolk, left elbow. Leaves it off Pete Suter outside. Makes his way to the paint. Suter hangs up top, draws the foul again. Little too strong on the shot, but 2 free throws coming up for Peter Suter.
Just another strong take from Suter there. Doing exactly what's being asked of him, getting back to the free throw line.
2 shots coming up for Pete. Palms Division MVP down at the Fort Myers tip-off last week. It's been a good couple of weeks for Mr. Suter. Makes the first free throw. It's from pretty close by here to Bloomington. He's a Carmel native in Greater Indianapolis. He's getting booed hard, but he gets a lucky bounce on the second free throw for a 2-for-2 trip. And that makes it a 16-11 ball game as Suter's up to 5 points to lead the RedHawks.
All of a sudden, RedHawks on a bit of a run now. Indiana, no field goals last over 3 minutes.
Looking to change that on the near side. This is Bryson Tucker back up top. Miles Rice rocking the pink shoes. The Washington State transfer finds a post-entry pass. Quick kick out, extra straight away. The 3 from Rice. Off the mark, rebound up in the air. Fought for, tipped out of bounds. Miami basketball. Good hustle as diving into the bench there. It was Luke Skjodt sticking his nose in there and going after that rebound, much undersized against Malik Renew. He drew the tip off the Hoosier, and it's Miami basketball as it headed into the RedHawk bench.
Yeah, it's just hard of a line there from Luke Skjodt going into an intimidating environment, getting after the loose ball. As Travis Steele has to love that.
Suter from the left elbow extended, dribbles it up top. Back left angle, crossing back and forth. Finds Skjodt straight away. Skjodt drives high off the glass, little too strong. And Ballo has the board for Indiana. He's already been very active on the glass. Now a deep 3 hit by Goody. That was blanketed, and that was from NBA range for Luke Goody, the senior out of Fort Wayne and transfer from Illinois. His first bucket of the night makes it an 8-point Indiana lead, 19-11.
No hesitation there from Goody. That's a shot he can make.
Suter's 3, missed it, and Byers went in for the rebound, but did not come up with the basketball. Instead, it is Bryson Tucker for Indiana. The star freshman, McDonald's All-American and 5-star recruit out of Bowie, Maryland. Has it on the left angle. Runs it to the right elbow, pulls up from there, hit it off the back iron, and the rebound tapped out into the arms of Brant Byers for the RedHawks. Kraft up ahead, head down, Kraft from the nail, kicks it back out. Hoosier fans wanted to travel as he fumbled with his dribble. Instead, Miami will work into a set. 15 on the shot clock as Woolfolk shoulders inside. The double comes, Woolfolk overhead feed, Suter alone, far side 3. And he stepped out of bounds, as did Cam Kraft. Second time we've seen that by a RedHawk. First it was Kraft, now it was Suter stepping out of bounds right before a 3-point shot on the far sideline. And that'll take us to a timeout on the floor. A little more fight shown by this Miami team. It's Indiana 19, Miami 11 with 10:48 to go first half. We're back to Assembly Hall after this. You're listening to Miami basketball on RedHawk Radio. With 10:48 to go, opening half, it is Indiana 19 and Miami 11. RedHawks trailed 13-3 in this game, so done a decent job to claw their way back. It's back to a single-digit ball game. However, RedHawks haven't made a field goal over the last 3 minutes, and they've been playing some really strong defense. It's just felt like a little bit of a missed opportunity, Bryan, to not get this game closer while they had the chance.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that assessment. I think if you're Travis Steele and the rest of the coaching staff, you just got to think of winning each 4-minute segment, each media timeout.
Alley-oop up top, and Ballo will tip it in off the feed from Galloway for Indiana, and it's back to a 10-point lead.
Yeah, Indiana trying to go down to Ballo once again. I think that's where they've had the most success so far in tonight's game. I think they're going to continue to feed the big man down low.
Kraft drives inside, hop step, lifted up, and the finger roll rolls off the rim. Rebound picked up by the Hoosiers, running quickly. Fake pass by Leal, now to Galloway, his three, pops in and out, and a rebound pulled in by Cam Kraft for the RedHawks. Makai Cooper up ahead for Miami. Got double teamed and turned it over. Cooper gave it away, and Galloway with a clear path down the right side to lay it home.
Yeah, I mean, that's just giving away points for Miami. You can't have many turnovers tonight if you want to get back in this game.
Cooper dribbling next to his waist. Pretty good game last time out, just 3 points, but 6 rebounds and 6 assists for the sophomore out of Bolingbrook, Illinois. Elmer back onto the floor for Miami. Drives to the nail, pulls up from there, and hits. Ian Elmer with a crafty mid-range jumper, and it's back to a 10-point lead with 9:22 to go in the first, 23-13 Indiana.
Yeah, we saw Elmer hitting a few of those shots in the Air Force game as well, stepping up.
Galloway carves to the bucket and lays it home. Galloway's been given a lot of space by these RedHawks, and he's taken advantage as IU leads it by 12. Galloway up to 7 points.
That just looked like an easy cut to make. I mean, just a wide open room there.
And Kraft lofts it up, and that's too strong off the back iron. So Kraft 0 for 4 to start. Now a 3 from Goody, and that's missed. Kraft, though, mishandled the rebound, and it's out of bounds. So Cam Kraft now 0 for 4 from the field to begin this game. And remember, coming off an 0 for 7 performance last game against Air Force on Monday, not what we're used to seeing from the Xavier transfer, who was formerly Miami's leading scorer before the Pete Suter show that we witnessed on Monday.
Yeah, certainly on a bit of a cold streak right now, but still got to give good effort on defense.
Suter with a steal, a careless giveaway there from Tucker, and the RedHawks will run with it. Suter all the way in, stops his feet, and will push it back out for Ian Elmer. Between the circles, it's Ipsaro, bouncing left elbow for Antoine Woolfolk, working to the right side, dribble handoff Ipsaro, back out Kraft. Kraft drives, right lane, lifts it up, off the backboard and in for 2. Tough finish, Cam Kraft, finally on the board for Miami, back to a 10-point lead for Indiana.
Yeah, about time for Cam Kraft. He's been getting up good shots, just haven't been able to get them in until there.
Ballo double teams, extra to the far side, Tucker fakes, drives, blocked away.
Wow.
RedHawks have numbers. Kraft to the far side, Suter scans, drives, Suter in the right lane, hangs up and can't put it in. Tucker pulls away the rebound. Now numbers for Indiana. Galloway cuts, overhead feed near side, Goody drives and is fouled.
Man, I thought they were going to get Woolfolk on the possession before, but got him there instead.
That'll take us to another timeout on the floor with 7:49 to go in the first. Back and forth battle, but Hoosiers still with the early edge. It's 25-15. Back to Assembly Hall after this. You're listening to Miami Basketball on RedHawk Radio. 7:49 remaining, opening half. It's Indiana 25 and Miami 15 with Bryan Miller alongside Luke Poley with you as it is Indiana basketball. Couple early fouls picked up by Antoine Woolfolk. A little concerning if you're Miami. He will head off the floor. And Indiana will have it from the near side baseline offensive end. Coming out of the timeout. Thrown out near half court. It's intercepted by Evan Ipsaro. Scoop out. Return feed. Ipsaro in the corner. Buries the three.
What a play there by Ipsaro. Got the steal off of the high pass. Gets numbers down the other side of the court and then buries a corner three. Miami only down 7 now.
25-18 with 7:26 remaining in the first half. Pass to the near wing was deflected out of bounds by Luke Skjodt. It'll stay on this end of the floor. 18 to shoot for the Hoosiers, and Mackenzie Mbako readying to inbound. Led freshman scoring last year across the Big Ten. He will instead give way to Galloway, who will inbound in his spot. And inserted for Malik Reneau. Reneau back outside for Miles Rice, holding overhead. Redshirt sophomore directing traffic with Ipsaro on him. He finds Mbako. Blanketed jumper from just inside the key is missed, and the rebound pulled out by Ian Elmer for the RedHawks. Skjodt with the fake, finds Suter straight away, jabbing. Suter crosses in, works to the elbow, pushing. He kicks it back out. Inside 7 minutes to play, first half. Miami looking to trim into the 7-point Indiana lead. Potter's three. Oh, he got it from up top. The 7-footer. Reese Potter with a triple, and Miami's cut it to 4 with 6:46 to play in the first.
And I think that's something Miami can take advantage of on the outside. Potter very capable of making those shots. If you get Ballo out away from the paint, that might be something you want to look at if you're Travis Steele.
Reneau trying to hand it off. It was nearly batted away by Ipsaro, but Rice snared it. And now wants a screen up top between the circles. Comes off the screen. He's now guarded by Potter. The much quicker Rice steps back. His three. It's good. Miles Rice with a deep one. Indiana's brought it back to 7. Potter tries another. Can't hit the second one from deep. And the Hoosiers get the rebound. Long pass up ahead and blocked at the rim, but a foul as Reneau rose up on Potter. And the Miami big man will pick up his second foul.
Yeah, that's definitely something to look out for the rest of this game, with Potter having 2 as well as Woolfolk. Indiana really drives the offense down Ballo and their other big men. So if Miami's not able to respond with that, they got their big guys in foul trouble. It could be trouble. They're going to have to adjust quickly.
Malik Reneau at the free throw line and knocks down the first foul shot. 90% on the year. Coming off a 15.4 point per game season. That was a career high. He's averaging 15 this year. He's getting the spirit fingers from the Assembly Hall crowd. Bends his knees and lifts up the second free throw. It is good. And Indiana leads it by 9 once again with 6:03 to go first half. Hoosiers with the possession arrow. 6 fouls for the RedHawks. It'll be an IU bonus the rest of the way. They lead it 30-21. Suter tried the drive. It was plucked away. Galloway gets dirty on the floor to pick it up, and he finds Rice. Rice lifting it up ahead. Triple team underneath, and a foul as Ballo went up for the shot. He was fully tarped by RedHawks, but they just couldn't do anything about the 7-footer underneath. They had to foul him. It'll go against Elmer.
Yeah, Miami's defense really having trouble with Ballo down low. Only 3 points for the big man, but I think his gravity, his weight throughout the court has created points for others in the Hoosier offense.
Umar Ballo and a Kulikuro Mali connects on the first free throw. Alum of the NBA Academy Latin America program. Bounces the ball 3 times, now a 4th, readies, and his left-handed shot in the air. It rattles off the rim, and the rebound pulled out by Ian Elmer of the RedHawks. 10-point game, 31-21. Hoosiers in front, 5:43 to go first half. It's Ipsaro from the far side for Miami. Travis steals Bulldog, pushes it to the near wing for Suter. Back for Ipsaro, driving inside, and he double dribbled as the RedHawks had a couple open looks there on the kick out. Ipsaro was looking to find one of them, and Instead, it'll be a Miami turnover.
Yeah, I think he would have had one there. Just a little bit of a pause in between dribbles there. Tough turnover there for Miami.
5 turnovers so far for the RedHawks to Indiana's 4. Check that, that's the 6th turnover now on the RedHawks with the latest from Ipsaro. Galloway, triple team, put it up top. Ballo kind of missed the alley-oop catch, but went back up and put it in for 2, and Indiana's got their largest lead. It's a dozen, 33-21 with 5:07 to play in the half.
Yeah, just as Miami's starting to get some shots together, Indiana on an 8-0 run.
Elmer crosses far side for Suter. Points to Potter, bounces it to him. Left elbow, Potter holding overhead, dribble handoff, Skjodt driving in, slips it in. Potter wide open for the two-hand dunk.
Nice roll there by Potter, found the open space, and a good pass there, gets the easy dunk.
Galloway one-hands it to the top of the key for Mbako, handing back off for Galloway. All-time leading scorer at Culver Academy here in the Hoosier State. Kick to the near wing, went right between the wickets of Renew. Between his legs and out of bounds. Indiana now will turn it over, and it's RedHawk basketball with 4.5 to play in the first, down by 10.
Seemed like Indiana had a chance there to really blow this game open right before the last media timeout of the first half, but just not able to get it there. Careless turnover.
Skjodt kicks to the corner. Cooper wide open 3. Hits the front rim. Rebound tapped out for Potter. And he'll trigger the 3 and hit it. 2 big man threes in the first half for Reese Potter.
It just looked like everyone in Indiana was running away from Potter. They didn't think he was going to shoot it, but he did, and gets another big 3.
Cross-court pass to the near wing. Mbako's 3 off the heel. Rebound tapped out. Skjodt tracks it for the RedHawks. Back up ahead, Luke Skjodt, the freshman. Driving inside, Skjodt pushes out for Potter. Extra pass, far side 3 from Elmer, knocks it down. It's down to a 4-point lead for Indiana, 33-29, with 3:36 to play in the first half.
And right when we were saying we thought Indiana had a chance to blow this game open, Miami a couple of huge threes. It's what making these types of shots can get you.
Rice comes off a screen. Left side, works down the center of the paint. High lofting shot is good.
What a take there from Rice, very impressive.
RedHawks push, Suter up and under, got pasted along the backboard by Ballo. Now a deep 3 from Rice. It's waved off as he traveled trying to step into the shot. Missed it anyway, but the RedHawks very fortunate there after Suter got absolutely blocked underneath the rim by Ballo that it didn't result in Hoosier points in transition. We got a good one here from Assembly Hall. It's Indiana 35, Miami 29 from Bloomington. We're back after this. You're listening to Miami Basketball on RedHawk Radio. 3:10 to go, first half. It is Indiana 35 and Miami 29. RedHawk ball, trailing by 6. This lead's been as large as 12 for Indiana. RedHawks started the game pretty cold. They were down 13-3, but they've since battled back and will now have an inbound down by a half dozen. Chance to cut this maybe to a one-possession game.
I'm just very impressed, Luke, with how well this Miami team has responded. They have not let the game get the best of them and let it slip away.
This crowd was all over them in the early goings after a tough start. RedHawks have started knocking down some shots. Back within striking distance. Skjodt spins it down the lane. Stumbled, regathered. Skjodt puts it up with the hand, no good. Taps out the rebound to Potter, and a foul as Potter went back up for the shot. And Indiana fans not liking that one bit as Skjodt kind of fumbled with the basketball. RedHawks have had a lot of trouble with the handle today. Indiana's had some too. Thought that Skjodt might have double dribbled there, but instead he taps out his own rebound. Responded to the free throw line. He misses the first one. Miami's had 2 separate 8-0 runs in this first half that have got them within range. Potter misses both. It's tapped out of bounds to Miami. Last touch by Indiana, so an 0 for 2. Go at it for Potter from the free throw line, but the RedHawks, the beneficiaries of the call on the baseline. It's Miami basketball.
Big break there for Miami after the missed free throws.
Skjodt finds Potter left angle rather on the far side. Handing back off, it's Ian Elmer. Sophomore from Cincinnati, Elmer. Off for Suter, ducks in, floats one up from the right elbow. That falls short. Rebound picked up by Tucker, running the floor, scooping it back out. Goody thought about the 3 instead. An extra to the corner. Rice's triple, bottoms out. Miles Rice, the redshirt sophomore out of Columbia, South Carolina, stretches the lead back to 9 for Indiana with 2:10 to play in the first.
He's had some big threes today for the Hoosiers. When they need a bucket, they've gone to Rice today.
From the block, Potter muscling inside, fadeaway jumper, barely scrapes the front rim. Board by Mbako. It's had a relatively quiet start to the game. No points yet as it's put inside, and the post-entry feed out of bounds. Last touch by Indiana. Bounce pass between Rice and Tucker went awry. It's back to Miami with possession after the 8th Indiana turnover.
Yeah, another crucial turnover there for the Hoosiers. You mentioned it, Luke, their 8th turnover on the day. Just been costing them throughout tonight's game.
Minute 38 to play first half. RedHawks trail it by 9. Woolfolk straight away. Dishes for Makai Cooper. Now Suter, near wing 3. Looked off from the start, but the rebound falls right to Makai Cooper. To the far side, Elmer, his tray. That's good. Ian Elmer, another 3 for the RedHawks. He's got 11 to lead Miami scores. Back down to a 6-point game and a steal. Makai Cooper grabs it for Miami, bouncing off Skjodt. Finds Elmer underneath. RedHawks can't score in transition. Elmer brings it back outside. Skjodt, quick jab in the corner, spinning, gets to the bucket. Skjodt, fadeaway. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
From the bottom of the Big Ten logo, Luke Skjodt with a tough finish, and it's a 4-point game with 54 seconds to go in the first.
That was a great drive there from Skjodt. Didn't look like he was going to have any success there, but quite a fadeaway there from inside the paint.
Timeout Mike Woodson at Indiana as Miles Rice held it up top. 19 on the shot clock, 44.9 on the game clock. It's 38-34 Hoosiers. RedHawks in another scoring run to get them back within 4.
Miami's just been so much hotter from 3, I'd say these last 10 minutes of that half, Luke. I mean, you mentioned it earlier. Started off very cold. It was kind of looked like this game was going to get away from the RedHawks before it really even started, but they've just been able to respond and make a few shots, get a couple stops, get some steals, some points in transition, make a couple threes, and now all of a sudden they're only down by 4 with just under 45 seconds left.
Travis Steele is impassioned right now in the Miami huddle. He's clapping his hands and stomping his feet, trying to rile up the RedHawks to have a positive last 45 seconds. This could be a huge win for Miami if they could get a stop and potentially take the final possession or close to it. They could make this as short as a 1-point game. Right now, they'll need to stuff Indiana. Hoosiers lead at 38-34, took their use it or lose it timeout. 19 on the timer left to work with. Rice cuts to the bucket, near side. Rice lifts it up, but he traveled on the way through. Oh, everybody in the building thought that was an and one for Miles Rice, but the whistle was because he traveled as he crossed the arc. And Indiana will give it away for the 9th time. It's Miami basketball with 39 seconds to play in the first.
Just another costly turnover from the Hoosiers there. Really had opportunities throughout this game to extend the lead, but turnovers just really cost them.
Suter takes it into the front court for the RedHawks. Bouncing off for Antoine Woolfolk. Dribble handoff, Skjodt into the paint. Fade away from the nail. Knocks it down. Luke Skjodt makes it a 2-point game. He has been red hot tonight. Shot clock dark, 15 seconds to play in the half. Rice holding for the final shot out near half court. Gets a screen set for him by Renew. Rice, top of the key, dribbling with 8. Drives down the right side, plucked away. He picks it back up, feeding near wing. Leal, post entry pass, batted down, and a foul on the RedHawks with 0.6 seconds to go inside. Oh, Travis Steele is furious on the far side. That was a bailout by Miami as that ball was caught underneath by Renew. He was right on the baseline, had no chance to get a shot up. Would have run out of time there, but instead the foul was called. I believe they'll get Woolfolk, and that'll be his third.
Yeah, just to make things worse for Miami, a third on Woolfolk. You think you would need him in the second half.
So this will be a 1-and-1. Renew's free throw is good, and that makes it a 3-point game with, again, 0.6 seconds to go.
That was just such a good possession from the Miami defense, too. Man, you just hate to see that if you're Travis Steele.
Renew's second shot in the air, and it rolls off. Elmer with the rebound, tosses one up at the buzzer, but don't think he got it off in time, missed it anyway. RedHawks fortunate with that second free throw miss. It's a one-possession game headed into the half. Wind out of their sails a little bit without that final possession transpired, but Miami has shown some serious fight in this half as the RedHawks put together 3 separate lengthy scoring runs to stay within the game against Indiana. After 20 minutes, our score, Hoosiers 39, RedHawks 36. Bryan, it would have been fairly simple for this Miami team after the start in which they were down by 10 points to kind of fold up under the pressures of this road crowd, tough environment. They were turning the ball over, they were cold from the field, but they had an answer on the road, which has been something that's been tough to do at times for this Miami team.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Travis Steele, you have to love what you've been seeing as far as fight from your basketball team so far. Yeah, I mean, you mentioned in the first 5 minutes, we're not looking good for the RedHawks, but they've just done a great job of getting some stops on defense and making a few threes. And now only down 3 at half, have to be feeling very, very good. This second half of this game, Luke, this is where you learn a lot about your team and how well you could do when you get into MAC play.
So again, our score at the half, Indiana 39, Miami 36. We'll toss things over to Andrew Relvas for your Red Hawk Radio halftime report. Bryan Miller and I back for the second half in just a little bit. For now, halftime report starts right now.
Thanks, Luke. Thanks, Bryan. Appreciate you for tuning in here on our Red Hawk Radio halftime report. At the half, it's the Hoosiers 39, RedHawks 36. This was a really good response from the RedHawks after a really difficult first few minutes. Miami started out shooting 3 for 16. It seemed like it would have been kind of a Hoosier domination first half, but ever since that frame, the RedHawks have answered the bell cow, and they have absolutely attacked these Indiana Hoosiers, who are only leading by 3 points. Just a really good outgoing from Miami. So far, the top scorers for both sides, Ian Elmer with 11 on 4 for 7 shooting, 3 for 5 from deep, 3 rebounds and 1 steal for him. Really good effort from the sophomore, doing it all on the road. Another player that's playing really well, Reese Potter, 3 for 6. He's made a couple of three-pointers, 2 offensive rebounds, 1 assist. Reese Potter, when he's on, he's really making life tough for these Indiana Hoosiers. And number 3 scorer is Luke Skjodt. This, once again, I got to remind everybody, Skjodt, only a freshman, but he is playing like a seasoned veteran. 7 points for him, just really crafty. 1 rebound, 3 assists. He's always been super efficient. He's always been super crafty, super confident. We've seen it these first few games, and I mean, it's been more of the same for Skjodt. If you can keep him going, it can be really tough for these Hoosiers if the RedHawks continue to force that pressure. So the top 3 scorers, Elmer, Potter, and Skjodt, all playing well for the RedHawks. Meanwhile, for the Hoosiers, we'll see who are the top scorers. It's Miles Rice, 5 for 6 shooting, 2 for 3 from deep. Made a couple of free throws for him. No other stats, just 14 points, straight shooter, being confident. The Washington State transfer sophomore for the Hoosiers. Up to 14 points for him. The number 2 scorers, Malik Renau, 3 for 5 shooting, 3 for 4 from the free throw line, 2 rebounds. Been solid in the first half. And the number 3 scorer, it's Trey Galloway, crafty as a starter, 7 points for him, 3 for 4 shooting, 2 assists and 1 steal. Top scorers, Rice, Renau, and Galloway for the Indiana Hoosiers. So only 1 player in double figures for Indiana, and same with Miami. In terms of shooting overall, the RedHawks are shooting 37% from the floor, about 44% from three-point line, which is it's pretty average, almost 50%, 7 for 16, just doing really a nice job of finding their own shot and getting open from three-point. In terms of free throws, they've only shot 5, 3 for 5. That's probably been the biggest difference in this one so far. Meanwhile, for the Hoosiers, 58% from the floor, 4 for 9 from deep, and 7 for 10 from the free throw line. It's pretty much been the free throws that's separated these two teams so far. 7 for 10 from the free throw line to Miami's 3 for 5. In terms of fouls, Miami up to 8 fouls, and Indiana only up to 3 fouls. That's certainly going to be a portion of the game plan that Travis Steele wants to kind of get back into this contest. In terms of turnovers, it's 9 Indiana turnovers to Miami 5 turnovers. So a couple of good things for the RedHawks. Number 1, they're winning the turnover battle, 9-5. Only trailing the rebound battle by 3. Even with such a size disadvantage, you have a few 7-footers who are really physical. The fact that you're only trailing the rebound battle by 3 points is certainly a win in of itself. And I'd say the number 3 is the fouls. I mean, it's 5 more fouls for Miami. Just got to clean some things up here if you're the RedHawks. But overall, just a really solid first half. And it'll be an exciting second half coming up in about 9 minutes. See what happens with it then. Turn it over to the top 25 and the scoreboard segment. We'll see who is underway so far. Really light schedule in the top 25 tonight. Illinois versus Northwestern. The number 19 ranked Illinois Fighting Illini, 6-1, facing off against Northwestern in Evanston, 6-3. The Wildcats versus the Fighting Illini. Again, we'll get going right after this one. And in the MAC, talked about it a little bit, but Portland versus Kent State, that's another close game. Portland, the Pilots, only trailing by 3 versus Kent State. Obviously, if you're familiar with MAC men's basketball, Kent State is always a contender. They're always going to be good in the MAC. Made the tournament a few years ago, and they lead 31-28 over the Portland Pilots. Tight one out there in the Buckeye State at the MAC Arena. Kent State leading by 3. The top scorer, Medley, up to 9 points. And Austin for the Pilots up to 7 points. So we shall see, and we'll keep an eye on if the Pilots can get a big road upset out versus Kent State. About 8 minutes left to go. And our scoreboard segment concluded. We will turn it over to the keys to the game tonight. How can the RedHawks steal a victory against these Indiana Hoosiers? Talked about it a little bit, but really tough environment. This is one of the toughest environments to play in college sports. Not many teams steal victories on the road. So far, only down by 3. This is a really good sign for the RedHawks. You know, despite being out-fouled by Indiana, 5 more fouls for Miami, 3 for the Hoosiers. Despite that, it's only a 3-point game. And one reason why the RedHawks are only trailing by 3, it's the turnovers. I mean, plain and simple, you force turnovers, you're going to get more offensive opportunities. And they have done just that. 5 turnovers to Indiana's 9 turnovers. Really, one player that they have really hounded is Miles Rice, up to 3 points, although he does have the most points, 14 tonight. 3 turnovers for him. Umar Ballo up to two turnovers. If you can keep kind of hounding those players, jumping on them when they don't expect it, you can really create some chaos in a ruckus environment like Simon Skjodt Assembly Hall. And how exactly would you force those turnovers? Well, it's simple. You put a player like Evan Ipsaro on Mackenzie Mbaku or Miles Rice, one of those forwards. You try and kind of just bite the needle and see if you can get up into their grill and disrupt their focus. If you can kind of do that, you can really get some turnovers. Another player, Umar Ballo, up to 2 points, 6 points for him. Really old-fashioned forward for the Hoosiers. If you can kind of get him off of his game and force him to shoot outside shots. Talked about it a little bit before the start of this one. Make Ballo kind of be that outside shooter. I know he probably won't, but if you can kind of double team certain players and leave Ballo open outside, that could really spell good things coming up for the RedHawks out of the break. On the offensive side, really love to see Luke Skjodt continue to get more minutes and continue to get more opportunities. 3 for 5 shooting, 7 points for him. Love to see Skjodt just continue to get wide open looks. There was a couple possessions where Skjodt was up against an experienced forward like Miles Rice, Mackenzie Mbaku, and he just shook it off. He's looking like a veteran player out there. You can keep giving him the ball with the confidence that he already has. This could really hopefully lead to another boost in this Miami offensive engine. Hopefully keep giving it to Reese Potter as well, although a few of his shots in the paint have looked kind of disappointing. If you can keep fitting him outside, looking potentially in the catch and shoot game, if you can get Reese Potter going from 3, that's another proven guy that Travis Steele loves to lean on throughout the game so far and throughout his first 2 years with the RedHawks. And another player that Miami would love to have get going is Cam Kraft. 1 for 5 shooting. He's 1 for 12 shooting over his last 2 games. The RedHawks need a guy like Cam Kraft to get his feet wet offensively. Shot 0 for 2 from 3. I mean, he's had a few good looks here and there, but just got to get your shots falling if you're Cam Kraft. And if you can get those going, this could really force trouble for these Indiana Hoosiers. So overall, kind of just more of the same for the RedHawks. Got to force these turnovers. Got to continue to run up and down on the floor. And we'll see if the RedHawks can force a big upset. It would be Miami's first win in 41 years against the Indiana Hoosiers in Bloomington. So a reminder, this is the first time in 30 years since the RedHawks have returned to Simon Skjodt Assembly Hall. So a reminder, the crowd is going to be a factor in this one, like many hostile environments, but this one especially, really tough place to play RedHawks just got to silence the haters tonight. And we've already seen them do that. We've seen them go on a few 8-0 runs. We've seen them bring the pressure. And it's going to take a full 20-minute effort coming up to win this one tonight. About 3 minutes left. We'll turn it over to Luke and Bryan for the rest of this one. The RedHawks trying to get a big upset and shock not only the Big Ten world, but the national scoreboard tonight. We'll see if they can do it here from Bloomington. We'll hand it over to Luke and Bryan in a moment. Stay with us. You're listening to Miami men's basketball on Red Hawk Radio. My name is Andrew Relvas. Thanks so much for tuning in. Be back in a moment.
Second half about to begin here from Assembly Hall. It is Indiana 39 and Miami 36 from Bloomington. Alongside Bryan Miller, Luke Poley with you. And Bryan, RedHawks shot the ball roughly 20% worse than Indiana did in the first half, but volume three-point shooting from Miami and forcing a high number of turnovers for the Hoosiers kept them in the game.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't expect a 21% difference in field goal percentage to result in a three-point game at halftime, but that is the case here. Indiana shooting 58% from the field, Miami just 37%. But as you mentioned, Luke, just the number of three-pointers, Miami has 7, Indiana only has 4, and then capitalizing off of turnovers, Indiana 9 in the first half, Miami only 5. And then offensive rebounds as well, especially going up against a big team. I think the RedHawks have done a great job getting offensive boards. They had 6 of them in the first half, Indiana only 2. So taking advantage of those second chance points and making some threes has been very critical for the RedHawks to stay in this game.
It will be Hoosier basketball to begin the second half. Teams are all out there ready to go for Miami. Go with the same starting 5, Elmer, Kraft, Suter, Cooper, Woolfolk. They begin the half with Ian Elmer is leading Miami scorers with 11 points. 3 fouls for Antoine Woolfolk, 2 for Ian Elmer and Reese Potter. Some foul trouble to keep an eye on for Miami. No player with more than one foul. In fact, only 3 players with 1 foul for Indiana in that first half. Foul trouble a non-issue for the Hoosiers to this point. Miles Rice will provide the inbound, and he will go into the backcourt for Trey Galloway to begin the second half, who takes it down the right side across the timeline. We are underway. Indiana leads it by 3. So glad you could join us here. So we're from Assembly Hall. Bounce inside to the right elbow, and Renew will whirl it into the paint, lift one up. It doesn't go. Tap back, though, does. It's Umar Ballo.
Indiana going right in the paint. They're trying to go at Woolfolk and his 3 fouls. I expect them to do that often with Ballo.
Pass to the near side, looking for Kraft from Woolfolk, was tipped out of bounds. It'll stay with Miami. 28 seconds into the second half. Indiana leads it by 5. Elmer. Laterally for Woolfolk, right of the key. Dribbles, hands off for Makai Cooper, driving inside, kick to the near wing. Elmer's three, off the inside of the rim, no good. Rebound by Rice on the strong side.
And Elmer, a big part of the Miami offense in the first half, 11 points and 3 from 5 from 3.
Rice dishes off for Ballo. He hands Galloway, step back three from the left wing. He's got it. Trey Galloway, who lit it up from three early in that first half. He's now got 10 points rather for Indiana, and it's back up to an 8-point lead. Elmer, he'll try a three, and it rattles off. Ballo's got the rebound for the Hoosiers. Galloway running it ahead, and a foul whistled on Ian Elmer, who came in to swipe at that ball on Renew.
Yeah, just the last thing you need there for Miami is to get in foul trouble and give Indiana some free possessions. And I think that is the third on Elmer as well, so something to look out for.
It is. So Elmer and Woolfolk now in foul trouble. Travis Steele's going to keep him on the floor. Pass outside to the right angle. Trey Galloway hauls it down. Veteran, fifth year out of Culver, Indiana. The senior Galloway bounces, looking in the low block for Ballo. He was nowhere close to that. Already 2 feet in the paint for him, and that just skitters out of bounds and goes back to Miami.
Yeah, I mean, the idea there makes sense, getting it to Ballo down low with Woolfolk on him, but just a pretty bad entry pass there. Goes out of bounds. Another careless turnover.
Galloway did not play in the meeting in 2022 between these teams. He was on the roster, but that was more of the Trace Jackson-Davis show and a blowout loss for Miami at Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. Handoff for Suter up top, straight away. Suter pulls the trigger on a three and knocks it down. Pete Suter, a blanketed triple left to the key, and Miami gets some life injected into him with 2:10 gone by in the second half. Quick post-entry pass, though, and an answer from Ballo, who in one swift motion 180s and scores with two hands.
I think the way for Miami to try to win this game is to do it from the three-point line. If you think Indiana's going to try to hammer home the post, hitting those threes gets you past them.
Cooper gets swatted away by Galloway. Lead pass up ahead, and a diving effort by Suter to knock it out of bounds and save 2 points on a fast break for Mbako.
That was a great play there from Suter. You mentioned it. That would have been an easy bucket for Indiana, but Suter just comes flying in like a safety, tips the ball away. Is going to make it a little more difficult for the Hoosiers.
Quick entry pass intercepted by Makai Cooper for Miami. Suter takes it down the left wing. Looked like he thought about it for a moment, eyeing the rim. Instead, he'll pull back down, drive, leave off for Elmer. And his little bunny off the front rim, out of bounds to Indiana. Well, in hindsight, Suter should have just laid that in. Instead, he tried to get cute with it and leave it for Elmer, but he was wide open down the right side to just get Miami 2 points. Instead, it's Hoosier basketball leading by 7 with 17:10 to play.
Yeah, Suter just lulled Ballo to sleep there, had a very easy take to the rim, and yeah, for some reason decided to pass it away. Would have been an easy layup.
It's Rice down the right side with a soft dribble, finds Ballo up top. Ballo short pass, Galloway, quick drive, kick to the near wing, Renew's three, bounces up and off the iron. Rebound to Miami, lead pass ahead, Ian Elmer has it knocked away and out of bounds. It'll stay with the RedHawks, as Elmer nearly had that touch him on the way down, but narrowly evaded it. Miami unpunished. We're trying to go quick there.
Yeah, very close call there. Miami able to stay with it, though.
Kraft, far corner three off the catch. It rattles through. Cam Kraft, the catch and shoot tray. His first make from three today. And the RedHawks have cut it back down to 4 with 16:35 to play.
My goodness, have RedHawk fans been waiting for that.
Lob into the post for Ballo, got spiked away by the RedHawks, but it'll go out of bounds and stick with Indiana in the far corner. RedHawks will rush up Brant Byers to come into the game, as Antoine Woolfolk is kind of milling around right now on the Miami bench. He will not enter. Byers comes in for Ian Elmer. Reese Potter onto the floor as well for Miami. 8 points off 2 for 3 shooting from deep in this game for the 7'1" sophomore. Rice, a clean drive in, leaves it off, and the reverse doesn't go from 5 feet for Renew. Oh, an easy look opened up off great vision by Rice, but Renew couldn't tuck it, and the RedHawks stay up by 4 with 16:11 to go.
Yeah, just a point-blank look there for the Hoosiers. Just doesn't go in. I feel like we've seen that quite a few times today.
Stays down for, I should say, deep 3 Cam Kraft, and that bounces off the orange. Rebound soared in for by Ballo. Ballo straight away. Post entry pass, Renew, shouldering in. Renew high off the glass and in for 2.
Indiana going down low to Renew, down to the 6'9" forward, gets them an easy bucket.
4th Hoosier into double digits now with 11. Potter left to the key, holding the ball overhead, feeds far wing for Brant Byers, redshirt freshman. Leaves it off for Peter Suter in front of the Miami bench. Suter spins into space, finds Kraft underneath. He'll round the paint. Kraft for the right elbow, fadeaway jumper. Sticks in the left side of the rim and falls off to Indiana.
Yeah, I just don't think that's the shot you want there. Very contested mid-range look.
Renew ducks inside and lays it in with the left hand. And it's back to an 8-point lead for Indiana with 15:04 to play.
Back-to-back buckets for Renew. We'll see if they keep giving it to him.
Crowd getting back into it here from Assembly Hall. Suter down the right side, stops his feet. Push out Kraft, his 3, off the iron, rebound in the air, falls on the floor, and it's picked up by Renew. Hoosiers get it across the timeline with a feed down the right wing, and it's Trey Galloway around the far lane. Galloway inside, acrobatic kick, extra pass, and a right angle 3 for Renew. Off target, but out of bounds, off Miami on the rebound, and it will be Indiana ball coming out of the timeout. 14:33 to go, second half. Hoosiers lead it 50-42 from Assembly Hall. You're listening to Miami Basketball on Red Hawk Radio. .14:33 to go. Second half, Indiana in front of Miami 50-42, and the Hoosiers have the basketball on the offensive end of the floor. 20 seconds on the shot clock. With this baseline inbound, quick into Rice, fakes the three, heads in, and an offensive foul called on the Hoosiers.
I mean, just yet again for Indiana, a chance to really get the momentum on your side and expand this game. Just another turnover.
They'll get Renew, I believe, for a push-off on a screen, and so RedHawks have the ball back. They've stayed within 12 throughout. Suter fakes the fadeaway from the nail, pushes back outside for Ipsaro. Sophomore cuts it in, works his way to the exterior. 9 to shoot. Skjodt wants a screen up top, gets it. Skjodt scanning, 5 on the shot clock, 4 driving in. Skjodt with 1, kicks out Suter. They don't get it off in time.
That was just freshman experience there for Luke Skjodt. Not sure if he knew how much time was on the shot clock. Really trying to make some things happen like he did at the end of the first half, but just ran out of time there.
Rice, prodded at by Woolfolk, releases for Goody. Back up top, Rice straight away. Bounces, left elbow outside, Renew. Put inside for Tucker, spinning, and another offensive foul call.
I think they got him with the hook there.
It's Jeffrey Anderson, the world-famous high knees ref, making the call, and Miami the beneficiaries of another offensive foul.
I mean, that's just been the story of the game for the Indiana Hoosiers, I feel like.
The turnovers have been concerning for Mike Woodson, and the offensive fouls over these last couple of possessions that have given it back to Miami again with a chance to pull away. Right now it stays an 8-point game with 13:25 to play.
Wide
Slip
open.
inside, Byers wide open for a two-hand jam. The find by Woolfolk. He points at him as he heads back down the floor. Brant Byers with the two-hand stuff.
Yeah, I mean, just a really good cut there from Byers. They just, no one accounted for him.
Goody fakes, sidesteps, takes the three, and missed it. Rice soars in for the rebound, grabbed it, threw it back in. Thought he stepped out of bounds. Somehow he didn't, but he threw it back to the RedHawks. So no arm, no foul, I guess. Drive in, Suter gets fouled. But Suter looks to be a little shaken up, and Suter's signaling at his knee, and he's going to get stretched out right now by his teammates.
Yeah, he started to point to his knee immediately. Would definitely be a major point of concern for Miami if this is anything serious.
Miami training staff has not made their way out yet. Suter going to get helped up to his feet. Keeled over right now, just kind of favoring that left leg. He's a little wobbly as he gets back up. He'll go to the free throw line if he's able to do so, which it looks like he is. Suter with 8 points in the game. He's just 2 for 9 from the field, so far less efficient than that 42-point game in which he knocked down 17 shots from the field. But he is 3 for 3 from the line today. Shooting at the Indiana student section, waving around balloons. But no problem for Suter on the first free throw. Galloway coming back in for Indiana along with Umar Ballo. 50-45 our score, with the second free throw pending for Pete Suter. Suter misses the second free throw. Ballo gets the rebound for Indiana, and Galloway takes it across the timeline on the right wing. Tucker driving in, it's back out for Ballo, and now Galloway comes off a screen, double teamed out near midcourt. He releases off, near corner, alone for three. Tucker missed it short, line driving it off the front of the rim, and Suter scoops up the rebound for Miami.
Yeah, Tucker just did not look comfortable shooting that shot. Has not made a three all season, so I guess you can understand why.
Skjodt left angle extended, slings to the far wing for Ipsaro. Back for Skjodt with 12 to shoot. Skjodt drives, stops at the nail, fades away, and it goes 3/4 of the way down, but won't drop for him. And Indiana will pull it out. Galloway down the left side, stops at the flank, heads back out near midcourt. To the near side, Goody. Off for Tucker, sauntering in, Tucker lifts one up. It falls off the rim. RedHawks collide on the rebound, but fortunately Suter there to save the day for Miami. As Woolfolk and Ipsaro came together, but Suter ended up with the board. 50-45 our score. Indiana in front of Miami with 11:40 to go. Timeout on the floor coming up at the next dead ball. Right now it's Suter driving in. Suter right hand lay. It won't go. And the rebound picked out by Ballo. Goody near side, fakes the three, sidesteps, now takes, and it missed, but he was fouled by Woolfolk, who gets his fourth.
Yeah, that could be a very costly foul there.
That's a disastrous sequence for Miami between the miss at the bucket on an easy look for Suter that could have cut it to three, and then an unnecessary foul there on a three that would have been missed. Woolfolk gets his fourth and 3 free throws coming up at the line for the 92% shooter, Luke Goody. We've reached a timeout on the floor with 11:27 to play. It's Indiana 50, Miami 45. You're listening to Miami Basketball on Red Hawk Radio. .27 to play, and Miami trails it by 5, but could potentially stretch to a whole lot more. 3 free throws coming up for Luke Goody, who got fouled by Antoine Woolfolk, shooting a 3-point shot prior to the break. And Goody, who's a 92% free throw shooter, will go to the line. And Woolfolk will go to the bench as he picks up his 4th foul, and Goody's perfect on the first free throw.
Yeah, very costly foul there for the RedHawks. Just means Reese Potter is really going to have to step up. He's playing with 2 fouls. Can't get any more.
Second one made by Goody as well. It's 52-45 Indiana with 11:27 to go in the second half. Goody buries all 3. 53-45 Hoosiers. 8-point Indiana lead. Luke Skjodt running the point. Takes it across the IU logo. Between the circles, he finds Ian Elmer. Back play to Skjodt underneath. He's wide open to tuck it in for 2. 9 points for Luke Skjodt.
I don't know what's going on with the Indiana defense, but that's quite a few times today where Miami just made a simple cut and it's wide open.
Galloway off his back foot, finds Ballo underneath, but it's plucked free, but a foul is called on Cam Kraft. Oh, he thought he punched that ball free cleanly, but got some of the arm of Ballo. And Kraft picks up foul number 1.
Yeah, looks like you got too much of the arm there. It's going to be a foul. Close call, though.
Goody catches it just inside the arc of the far wing, bouncing off for Ballo, left angle extended, handing for Galloway, working through the gap. Galloway lays it, too strong off the iron. Ballo underneath, shuffling his feet and putting it back in for 2.
Yeah, this Miami defense is really going to need to step up in rebounding against Ballo. Reese Potter, it's going to be tough for him to do it all by himself, considering the weight difference. They're going to need to get a couple guys on him.
55-47 Indiana, 10:29 to play. Elmer from the right angle. A foul called on Indiana. It'll go against Mbako, who was working off the ball there. So that's foul number 4 as a team on the Hoosiers. And Miami will get an inbound from the near side. As Mbako picks up his, I believe, second foul there. Kraft to the far side with the catch for Miami. His feet on the Assembly Hall logo on the right side. Instead it's Skjodt now on the left elbow, bouncing back out for Potter. Skjodt steps back and knocks down a 3.
Wow.
Whoa, Luke Skjodt from way out there. The freshman is having a screaming hot night, and it's a 55-50 game at the expiration of the shot clock. A deep one made by the freshman.
12 points now for Skjodt, 2 for 2 from threes.
Spot up shot from the far wing for Mbako, and that won't go. Rebound pulled in by Ipsaro for Miami, but he stepped out of bounds, and it'll stay with Indiana.
Just looked like Ipsaro there just like froze, and by the time he realized they stepped out of bounds. That type of situation under Indiana's basket, just throw the ball to the other side of the court.
So another chance on this possession for IU. Handoff Galloway. Stepped into a shot but decided not to take it. And now the ball's plucked free from Goody. Elmer running one-on-one with Galloway. Tucks underneath, trips and gets fouled. They will say foul on the floor, it looks like, as Elmer kind of chucked up a shot from his backside as he was falling down. But the officials will say that foul occurred beforehand. And Miami, I believe, will inbound, and they will from the far side baseline, trailing by 5 with 9:33 to play. Skjodt comes off with 12 points. On comes Peter Suter. Miami would love for him to heat up. He's got 9 points, but off 2 for 10 shooting. He catches the inbound on the far side corner for Miami. Suter holding overhead, finds Ipsaro, left alone, far side 3. Oh, he airballed it, missed everything. Rare from a guy that can shoot the ball pretty well there in Evan Ipsaro. He was left wide open. Now Indiana going the other way, and a foul underneath the basket as Ballo rose up through the traffic for the shot.
Yeah, that was certainly an open shot for Ipsaro. Sometimes when you're that wide open, it's like the worst thing that could happen to you. You just sit there for a second, and it just throws off your rhythm and forces a bad shot that otherwise should be pretty open.
So that will send Ballo to the free throw line once more. He's just 2 for 4. It's felt like he's been there a lot tonight, but really hasn't taken a ton of trips. This is just his 3rd time in, and he misses the first free throw. It rattles out on him. Suter off, Byers on. Remember, Suter was favoring the left knee and maybe looked a little shaky as he was heading off the floor there, so Miami potentially being a little careful with Suter right now.
Yeah, I don't think he looks 100% right now.
Playing through something at the moment, it appears. Ballo's second free throw is pure, and it's a 6-point Indiana lead with 9:16 left to play, and Ipsaro curled around and drew a foul before the inbound as Rice collided with him. Ipsaro threw his head back, and that was enough, I guess, to sell the foul. That'll be the second, looks like, on Rice. And did Mike Woodson just pick up a tech?
No, I think it was a similar type of foul on Beal, I think.
They're going to walk the RedHawks to the other end of the floor. I think Mike Woodson might have just got a technical foul. Nope, rather, the foul's going to be, there's going to be another foul called on Anthony Leal, and that puts the RedHawks into the bonus. So Miami's got 9:16 left to play, and they're going to shoot the bonus the rest of the way. Ian Elmer taking the 1-and-1, and he misses the first free throw, but an offensive rebound by Byers. Elmer from the near side drives in. Elmer tosses it up, and he traveled on his way in. Cannot miss free throws if you're Miami, and Elmer missed it. RedHawks got the offensive rebound, but they'll turn it over.
Yeah, you said it there, Luke. If Indiana's just going to gift you fouls before even inbounding the ball, you got to take advantage of it. Miami just having trouble doing that. Man, missed opportunity there for Miami.
RedHawks are just 4 for 8 from the free throw line today. Rice up ahead for Indiana. Dribble handoff for Galloway, and another one for Goody. Now it's Rice coming off a screen. He's double teamed, slips through for Poley, dumped underneath. Two-hand slam for Renew. He was wide open. Back to an 8-point lead for the Hoosiers with 8:48 to play.
Yeah, looks like everyone, the RedHawk defense stepped up when Ballo got the ball near the elbow. That allowed Renew to cut towards the basket for an easy slam.
Potter sitting up top for Miami, signals Ipsaro inside. He cuts and now heads back out and has the ball. Finds Elmer, deep three, off the iron. Ipsaro finds the rebound, tapping it off for Potter. Byers far side triple. That's off the mark, and the Hoosiers grab the board. Rice racing ahead. Galloway slashes, lifts it up top. It's knocked away, and last touch by Indiana as Renew couldn't secure that pass inside. Man. So again, the RedHawks benefit as Indiana, they're trying to push the tempo, but they've continued to turn the ball over.
Man, Miami's getting chances. I mean, they're getting plenty of good looks and good chances to get some points on the board, but they're just not able to capitalize these last few minutes.
8:03 to play, 58-50 the Indiana lead. Byers left to the key, holding on his right hip. Dribbles once, picks up his dribble, and bounces off for Ipsaro. Ipsaro jabs, heads inside, finds Kraft in front of his bench, a three, off the front rim short, and the rebound pulled out by Ballo. This has just been a dreadful sequence of late for Miami, and really had a chance to get back into this one. Rice drives, kicks to the far corner, Galloway open three, he's got it.
It was only a matter of time before Indiana caught a big three, and it just happened there with Galloway.
Timeout Travis Steele in Miami. 61-50 the score in favor of Indiana with 7:29 to go. The Hoosiers not quite at their largest lead of the game, but close to it after that three by Trey Galloway. We're back to Assembly Hall after this. You're listening to Miami Basketball on RedHawk Radio. Do the RedHawks have another run in them? Indiana's been in an 11-point game, 61-50 with 7:29 to play. But Miami has just looked very sluggish on the offensive end. Hasn't been a whole lot of kinetic movement for the RedHawks of late. They've got no field goals, no points, I should say, over the last 240. And Indiana's opened the lead back up to 11. It was down to 2 possessions for much of this second half. Right now it's Suter down the right side for Miami. RedHawks into the front court after the Travis Steele timeout. Suter blanketed, pushes back outside. Now quickly in, and Potter mows him in over an easy offensive foul call. Rice draws it, and Miami gives it away once more, and that'll bring us to a timeout on the floor. So this is the under 8 media timeout with 7:11 to go, and not what you wanted to see for the RedHawks off the timeout as Reese Potter commits the foul. And the RedHawks will give it back to Indiana with 7:11 to play. It's Indiana 61, Miami 50. We'll take a break and be back. More Miami basketball on RedHawk Radio. .7:11 to play in our second half. It's Indiana 61 and Miami 50. Hoosiers have the basketball. Coming out of this media timeout, Travis Steele called timeout to try and regather the troops, and the RedHawks then committed an offensive foul. It was done by Reese Potter, and Miami has given it back to Indiana on the brink of their largest lead tonight, 61-50. IU up by 11. Rice dribbling to the far side, handoff for Galloway. Covered outside by Potter. Now Galloway whips it down low. Renew fades, tosses it up. It won't go. Rebound, put back, and a foul on Ballo. Shot swirls out on him, but it'll go to the free throw line.
Yeah, that was Ballo just taking advantage of Reese Potter there. Ballo standing at 265, Potter at 215. Obvious advantage in front, or in favor of the Hoosier there. Just took advantage of him there and got back to the free throw line.
Ballo back to the line. This is his 4th trip, and he bricks the first one off the back iron.
Good thing for Miami there is that he did not make the shot, because he is not a great free throw shooter.
Ballo on the game, now 3 for 7 from the stripe. Second one up and rolls in. And it's a 12-point lead for Indiana. 6:46 to play. Hoosiers 62, Miami 50. Between the circles, Suter dribbles left, feeds it back up top. Potter now to the far wing. It's Ian Elmer cutting to the basket. Elmer pulls up for the mid-range and left it way short.
Yeah.
Barely got the bottom of the rim. Rebound pulled up by Rice.
Elmer has really cooled down in the second half. He was one of the forces that made this Red Hawk offense go in the first half and has gone ice cold in the second half, much like the team.
Renew holding, shimmying, working inside on Potter. Bullies him all the way to the bucket and ducks underneath with a left-hand layup. Indiana's starting to pull away. RedHawks need something here to stay within striking distance in the game. Skjodt out for Potter, his three. Missed off the right side. Not the shot you're looking for if you're Miami. Indiana can really put a dagger in here against Miami. And it's Goody from the far side, a three. Oh, it rims out. And Elmer grabs the rebound.
Just gotta get something here if you're Miami. Time is quickly running out.
Elmer drives to the right elbow, still dribbling, picks up his dribble and feeds outward for Suter. Back in to the far block for Elmer. Kick out Skjodt. Slips out for Elmer once again, driving down the center of the paint. Acrobatic lay, it falls off the rim. And the rebound by Renew. RedHawks have had no points over the last 4.5 minutes. Ballo to the interior, stuffed by Potter. Rebound, a hang, and an and one from Goody. And again, Pete Suter is down for Miami as it's up to a 16-point lead for the Hoosiers with 5:11 to play.
Man, it's like the last thing you want to see for Miami and Suter. Very, very hobbled now. I would personally doubt that we see him the rest of this game.
Will limp his way back to the bench as Luke Goody will go to the free throw line to try and make it a 17-point lead for Indiana.
Potter did a good job there on Ballo, but not able to get the rebound. Goody able to clean it up and get the and one.
Fortuitous roll on the free throw, and it's a 17-point lead for Indiana, 67-50 with 5:06 to go. RedHawks offense has come to a screeching halt of late. Antoine Woolfolk onto the floor with 4 fouls. Back outside, Skjodt plays catch, has it at the nail, and he's fouled by Rice.
Yeah, Miami needed that.
That's a bailout. Remember, the RedHawks have been in the bonus for about 5 minutes, and that's just the second time Miami has used the bonus now, as it's the 8th foul as a team against Indiana. So a good job to stop fouling after an early trip to the bonus. Skjodt at the line for the 1-and-1, and he missed it long. Rebound tapped right to him, though. And the RedHawks have just been brutal from the free throw line tonight. RedHawks have another chance on this possession. Woolfolk drives in through the trees, can't score. Rebound to Cooper, he puts it up. That won't go with the left hand. Another offensive board. RedHawks have it out. Three-pointer from Kraft. That's off the heel, and the Hoosiers grab the rebound.
Just can't buy a shot right now. My goodness, it's been just over 5.5 minutes now before the RedHawks have made a field goal. Just nothing working right now.
4:19 to play. Indiana leads at 67-50. Behind the back on the dribble goes Galloway. Working left to the key, to the elbow, picks up his dribble, pivoting. Galloway leans in, lifts it up, and no good. RedHawks have the rebound. It's Makai Cooper down the right side. Cooper off a screen with 4 minutes to play. Sets his feet, finds Kraft on the far wing. Kraft works inside the arc, turns his back. Lays it for Skjodt, dribbling it off the foot of Mbako. He's called for the foul, and that'll bring us to a timeout on the floor. Skjodt back to the free throw line when we return. Indiana has made it a 17-point ball game as they lead Miami 67-50 with just under 4 to go. You're listening to Miami Basketball on Red Hawk Radio. 67-50 our score. This game was once 55-50 Indiana, but 12-0 Hoosier run, and the RedHawks have not bought a shot over the last 5.5 minutes. That run stretching. RedHawks haven't scored in over 6 minutes. Luke Skjodt will try to change that at the free throw line with a 1-and-1. And he hits the first free throw. Very good night for the freshman, who's up to 13 points now. Skjodt hangs the left arm and now dribbles in to his left-handed shot. Got the second. So a 15-point lead now for Indiana, but the Hoosiers finally now will likely slow the pace a little bit. As accelerating inside, nope, a work all the way to the basket, and Mbako is just going to score it. And for the RedHawks, Antoine Woolfolk is down under the basket and holding his face. Got driven in on there with 4 fouls. Was trying to draw the charge, it appeared. There was contact, but foul not called on either guy there. Could have maybe argued for a block even on Woolfolk in that scenario, but yeah, maybe the RedHawks lucky he didn't get called for the foul as he's down.
I was very surprised nothing was called there. I mean, just looking at the monitor now,
on the replay,
a lot of contact.
The elbow of Mbako went straight through the face of Woolfolk as he was going up for his shot, but it's tough to see. It looked like Woolfolk might have moved his feet there, and there's some contact. Yeah, a little surprising to not see it. Free throws, or a foul, I should say, going at least in some direction there. Jeffrey Anderson and the crew are now going to go to the monitor to look at this for a potential flagrant.
Yeah, just looking on the monitor here, definitely looked like an elbow got in the face of Woolfolk. We'll see what comes of it. I mean, this game is really, it has really tested Miami from a health standpoint, with Woolfolk now exiting the game, and then Suter's injury as well. We'll see what happens with him in the upcoming games.
So the officials are no longer at the monitor. They're discussing this. And we will see what we've got. Looks like it's just going to be nothing, as was what was called on the floor.
Interesting.
So no extra foul there from the monitor. Pretty quick review, and it's now 69-52 Indiana with 3:38 to go in the game. Skjodt up ahead for Miami. Heads across the Indiana logo, diagonally to the far side between the legs on the dribble. Skjodt up to the top of the key, pulls up for 3, and left it short. Off the front rim, rebound by Renew. Up ahead for Indiana, it is Mbako. RedHawks applying some pressure on him. He releases off for Renew. Renew driving in, weaves through, and a reverse layup for 2 more for Malik Renew. The junior out of Miami, Florida, has opened up this Hoosier lead in the second half.
It has really been a nice breakout game for him as well. 19 points on the game.
Byers with a catch and put up from 5 feet out that got goaltended as it hit off the backboard before it was swatted away. So count the bucket for Brant Byers. He's up to 6 points, and it's 71-54. Went to the monitor for a 5-second review there and upheld the call. 2:57 to play. Indiana leads it by 17. Rice, around the screen on the far side, picks up his dribble and puts it up top. This is Mbako, dribble handoff for Tucker. Tucker back near wing for Rice, working in now back out, spins into the lane, kick out, 3 from Mbako. Pops out of the well, rebound ripped away by Tucker. Physical board for the freshman in Indiana, gets a fresh 20. They'll roll some more time off this clock before Rice heads off a screen down the right side, spinning into the lane, hanging up, and scoring, plus the foul.
Another nifty move there from Rice. Saw him a lot in the first half, hasn't made a huge impact in the second, but very nice spin move there and gets the foul.
18-4 run for Indiana. And with 2:20 to go, the and one free throw from Miles Rice will put him up 20 with the make. So a disappointing end to this one for Miami. Still with 2:20 to go, but once within 5 late in this game, this has gotten completely out of hand as Rice gets an ovation as he exits.
Yeah, it just seemed like Miami and Indiana was just really going blow for blow there, and then Miami just ran out of punches.
Dan Lures into the game, the Eastern Illinois transfer. He finds Byers, and he splashes the 3 for the near wing. So beg your pardon, now it's 7 points with the 3 for Brant Byers, and 74-57 the score with 1:50 to go. Langdon Hatton, the transfer from Bellarmine and former teammate of Pete Suter, hands it off for Mbako. Backing in, Mbako fadeaway long 2. He's got it. That's money from Mbako. Tough shot. He knocks it down.
Quiet night for Mbako. This is getting his 4th point there, but nice fadeaway shot there.
Lures crosses the timeline and hands off for Skjodt. 76-57 Indiana, 80 seconds to play. Katecki into the game for Miami. Didn't appear against Air Force. Dribbling down the right side, he hands it off for Ipsaro. Ipsaro around a screen, back for Katecki. Thought about the 3, instead gives it in for Skjodt, who throws it off the leg of Good and out of bounds. It's a nice play by the freshman to save a possession. Miami's got 5 seconds left on the shot clock. And 1:07 left in the game. They'll need a quick catch, can take a couple dribbles maybe, then get a shot. Catch in the corner by Skjodt, sidestep 3, rattles out. Rebound on the floor between the legs of Lures, tie up, and a jump ball. Clock stopped with 59.7 to play. Indiana leads it by 19. RedHawks have got the arrow.
I think you definitely have to appreciate the fight that the RedHawks have shown this last couple minutes, considering the game is all but over, but still appreciate the effort if you're Travis Steele and the rest of the RedHawks.
Timeout, Travis Steele in Miami. RedHawks have 1 left. 59.7 seconds to go, and 76-57 our score. This gives us a chance. Let you know what we got going on tomorrow. Quick turnaround as we'll be in Detroit for the MAC Championship football game. Battle of the Bricks Part 2 this year between Miami and Ohio. RedHawks 30-20 victors over the Bobcats earlier this season. They'll look to not only repeat with their second Battle of the Bricks win this year, but repeat as MAC champions, hoping to go back-to-back for the first time since the 1970s. Coverage begins from Ford Field tomorrow with the Red Hawk Radio kickoff show at 11, pregame at 11:30, and kickoff is at noon. Should be plenty of fun. RedHawks have been rolling after dropping their MAC opener.
It's going to be a battle between two very, very hot teams between Miami and Ohio. It seems identical the way that their seasons have gone.
Miami's won 7 straight to an 8-4 record headed into the Mid-American Conference Championship game. Off the inbound, RedHawks have it once again. Lures works inside, bottom of the Big Ten logo, floats one up, and line drives off the front rim. Rebound pulled in. It's Tucker for Indiana, moseying down the right side. To the far wing it goes. Goody hands it back out. Now it's Hatton on the block. Hatton double team behind the back pass towards the inside. Got intercepted. RedHawks were not having that. Shot and game clock separated by about a half second as the steal credited to Evan Ipsara. Skjodt working from up top. No look pass to the far side. Lures a 3 off the heel. Just indicative of what it's been like in the second half for Miami. Rebound pulled down by Hatton for Indiana. And the Hoosiers will dribble this one out. It's going to look a little more lopsided than it was for the majority of the night, but the firepower shined through for Indiana late. And the Hoosiers take down Miami 76-57. And the RedHawks' first trip back to Assembly Hall in about 40 years. Miami with the loss has their winning streak snapped at 3. RedHawks fall to 5-3 on the year. Indiana extends the winning streak to 3 games. Hoosiers now 7-2 overall as they will head into Big Ten play here at Assembly Hall on Monday against the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Really good fight put up by this RedHawk team in the first 30 minutes, but Bryan, at the point where it really mattered most, RedHawks just ran out of gas in some areas, and other areas, just to put it plain and simple, could not score at the most necessary moment of the game. You like what you see against a high-level opponent if you're Travis Steele in this game, but hoping that a team that Travis Steele said should routinely score in the 80s can do a little bit better to not have a lengthy scoreless run like they did tonight.
Yeah, I mean, they just went cold, couldn't buy a shot the last 10 or 12 so minutes of tonight's game, and you're not going to beat many teams, let alone many teams like Indiana, if you do that. So certainly a little bit of a disappointing ending there for the RedHawks, but I think there's a lot of lessons you could take away if you're Travis Steele and the rest of the RedHawk coaching staff. Definitely appreciate the fight that your team has showed throughout tonight's ball game and just the resilience. I mean, it was 13-3 Indiana after the first media timeout. You know, you're thinking, oh my goodness, this game's going to get away from Miami early, but no, they fought back, got some stops on defense, made some threes, and got themselves back into this game. I think those are lessons that you could really bring into the rest of non-conference play and then win in MAC play once you get to it.
Certainly. So the final as we wrap things up here from Assembly Hall tonight, Indiana 76 and Miami 57. Just a reminder, coming up tomorrow from Ford Field in Detroit, MAC championship football game, Miami and Ohio. Lockhorns for the second time this season. Coverage begins at 11 with the kickoff show. Pregame at 11:30 Eastern, and kickoff is at noon. Talk to you then. Until then, for Bryan Miller, my partner, I'm Luke Poley, saying so long from Assembly Hall. After the break, Andrew Relvas gets you wrapped up with a RedHawk Radio postgame. Final score, Indiana 76 and Miami 57. Thanks for tuning in to this presentation of Miami men's basketball on RedHawk Radio. We'll see you next time.
Welcome into the RedHawk Radio postgame show. The final score 76-57. Indiana defeats Miami. Just a tough second portion of that second half for the RedHawks. They went scoreless for about 7 minutes and just kind of ran out of gas. Just a tough finish here at Assembly Hall, and Miami had them for the 3/4 of this one, but they just ran out of gas, and it was a valiant effort, a really good showing despite the loss. And, you know, you see a 19-point loss, you think you got crushed, but it was certainly a close game for the majority of this one. And unfortunate for Miami, they've now lost 7 straight to these Indiana Hoosiers. And the RedHawks fall to Indiana for the first time in 30 years here in Bloomington. Yeah, for the RedHawks here, just a tough night, and they will look to rebound at their next matchup. But look at the top scorers in this contest for Miami. RedHawks are just had a really good game from Luke Skjodt. Skjodt put up 14 points on 5 for 10 shooting, 2 for 4 from 3, and 2 for 3 from the free throw line. Really good effort from Skjodt, the freshman, showing off the confidence and being really crafty there. Ian Elmer as well, 4 for 13, but 11 points. He was efficient for Miami. Top scorer for the Hoosiers, it was Malik Renow, 19 points. 4 players in double figures for the Hoosiers. It was Omar Below with 14 points and 18 rebounds. I mean, he was a machine tonight. Going to be a big player in conference play coming up. Miles Rice, 17 points. Trey Galloway with 13, 4 players in double figures. The Hoosiers got it done scoring-wise. They shot 54% from the floor, 33% from 3, and 74% from the free throw line. Meanwhile, Miami, 31% from the floor, 34% from 3, and 6 for 11 from the free throw line. Tough night for the RedHawks, but they will get back onto the saddle coming up in a little bit. They've got Bethany coming up on Sunday. Not this Sunday, but the next Sunday, December 15th at 1 p.m. It'll be a afternoon start against the Bethany Bison. RedHawks trying to tune up when they face off against Vermont on the road coming up. Meanwhile, for the Indiana Hoosiers, they've got another home game in a couple days versus the Minnesota Golden Gophers to kick off conference play. That's going to do it here from Assembly Hall. The final score, 76-57. Miami falls to the Indiana Hoosiers. Thanks so much for tuning in. My name is Andrew Relvas. We will see you tomorrow at 11 a.m. for the MAC Championship game on Red Hawk Radio. Should be a fun one. Battle of the Bricks Part 2 this year. The RedHawks trying to win 3 straight against the Ohio Bobcats. Find out tomorrow. And in the meantime, we hope you have a great rest of your night. My name is Andrew Relvas. I'll see you tomorrow.